Yeah, when I was 3 or 4 years old, my dad brought me to Red's Barber Shop, my first haircut, right here in Morrison, Oklahoma, and it's still there. Then my granddad bought the hardware store here in Morrison, and so I spent a lot of time at 6 and 7 and 8 years old up here working in the hardware store. And it used to be this whole thing, and we had mattresses on one side and bolts and a big potbelly stove on the other. It was pretty cool little place. Great place to spend summers. That building was built in 1902. Now this was a place that I can remember a lot of good memories. We used to have Sunday sing-alongs, and churches from all over, little small churches, would bring all their folks in. And every Sunday, my dad and I'd come up here early, and we had to ring the bell, one of those type you pull on the rope and ring the bell so that the town knows that church is open. And saw a lot of baptisms and stuff in this little old building. I was born in '67. I think we moved to Morrison in '70, and then left here in 1980 to go to Cleveland. Well, I remember every Sunday, my dad would come up and he'd make sure that if they were having a baptism, that there was hot water in the baptistry. But we'd also come in, and when it was time for church, we'd ring the bell, and had a long rope that went up to the bell on the top of the tower. And Dad would let us 3 kids each pull on it and ring the bell so everybody knew to come to church. And once in a while I could jump high enough it'd actually drag me up in the air until he'd caught me and he'd stop me from doing it. And so I started playing baseball, I guess, 4th or 5th grade, maybe 3rd grade. And we played a lot of games here at the baseball field. A lot of lessons learned there, for sure. Really in Morrison there wasn't a whole lot to do, so you played baseball or stayed at home, I guess. TV at that time had 4 channels, so it wasn't like we were gonna sit at home and watch TV. It's good to grow up in a small town. I mean, you learn a lot. Relationships and people, they mean an awful lot to you when there's not a whole lot else to do, for sure. And getting to grow up on a farm, I mean, we called it the farm. It wasn't a huge farm. We had 13 horses at one time and some sheep and cattle, and we'd rope and do some different things. But you learn, my dad always taught me that a handshake and your word's all you have, so don't blow it. Well, I know that for me personally, a lot of people say, where did your character come from, or where did you tell me more about your upbringing? And my upbringing was always, my mom and dad were first generation Christians, and so every Sunday and Wednesday night we were in church somewhere. But not only that, I can remember Sunday afternoons laying down on the floor with my mom and dad and sleeping under the air conditioning unit, and we ate meals together, and at night we'd raise the windows and hear the crickets outside together. And I think when you grow up that way, it's hard to not be good. It's just bred in you. And my dad, of course, being an old country boy, a farm boy, and always taught me that your word's all you have. So you break your word, then you no longer have a name. And one thing I can remember from a young age is people stopping me and telling me what a good man my dad was. And that let me grow up knowing that I couldn't ruin that name. I had to do what I could to keep the McDugle name a good name. And I don't know that I've done as good a job as my dad did, but I always told him if I could be half the man he was, I'd be a happy man. It's just good to be around people that love the country, love the Lord, love family, and that gives you a good solid core. And when you go overseas and you're fighting in combat and you don't know that you're going to make it home, it's always a nice foundation to be able to go back to, knowing that if you take a bullet, where you're going to end up. And no matter what happens to you, there's people back home that love you.